Last year, I visited the famous Joshua's Hill in Istanbul. It was a place that I had earlier read about and really wanted to check it out because these different hills around Istanbul are also sacred sites, and you have shrines or these sites which are supposed to be the guardians of the city. So as we walk towards this lesser known site, Yuşa Tepesi or Joshua's Hill, it is a different journey from visiting Istanbul's grand imperial mosques. There are no monumental courtyards. Instead, there are modest shops and stalls that sell food, prayer beads, scarves, religious books, and small souvenirs. Families arrive here, elderly visits walking slowly towards the entrance, and people stop to purchase something before continuing towards the grave and the mosque. There is a sense here of an active local tradition rather than a site preserved merely for tourists. The Turkish name for Yusha refers to Joshua, known in the Islamic tradition as Yusha ibn Nun. He is remembered as a companion and successor of the Prophet Moses and as the figure who led the Israelites after him. Yet the historical identity of this particular site is far from certain. There are several places across the Middle East associated with Joshua's burial, including sites in present day Palestine, Jordan, and Iraq. The connection between Joshua and this hill in Istanbul belongs primarily to local traditions rather than established historical evidence. But that uncertainty does not diminish the spiritual importance of this place. The grave inside the tomb or whatever we tepesi we call it, is unusually long, 17 meters long, it is said, and sometimes it is also called the giant's grave. We have in South Asia, in Pakistan, in India, many such long graves. I don't know. I really have to dig deeper into why such long graves. Maybe they were associated with the giants or human beings which were supposed to be much taller than our great ancestors. I don't know, but some people interpret its length literally, but a plausible explanation is symbolic, that the grave may have been extended to express reverence, to mark uncertainty about the precise burial point, or to protect a larger sacred area. So it is best understood as a maqam, a sacred place associated with the memory or spiritual presence of a revered figure, whether or not it contains the person's physical remains. Whatever the historical origin, the long grave has become a physical expression of belief, and its scale distinguishes the sacred space from the ordinary world around it. Immediately beside the grave stands Yuşa Mosque, a small and relatively restrained building compared with Istanbul's grand imperial structures built in the Ottoman period. So the present mosque is actually a surviving Byzantine church. It was built in 1755, and later it was restored after damage, including significant work under the reign of Sultan Abdulaziz in the 19th century. So reportedly there was a Byzantine church dedicated to Saint Michael on the hill centuries earlier, but it would not be accurate to say that the current mosque is simply that church converted into a mosque. The Ottoman mosque was built much later, but of course the hill or the site was attributed to Saint Michael. The mosque is modest, serving the practical needs of the worshippers who come to the hill. So, Yuşa Tepesi rises above Beykoz, close to the northern end of Istanbul's Asian shore. The hill is roughly 200 meters above the sea level. For centuries, this elevated position made it an important landmark for vessels approaching Istanbul from the Black Sea. The setting helps explain why the place acquired a sacred character long before the Ottoman period. High places have often been associated with worship, retreat, and proximity to divine power. According to some local accounts, the summit may once have contained an ancient sanctuary associated with Zeus. During the Byzantine period, a church dedicated to Saint Michael stood somewhere on this hill before being destroyed in the earthquake of 1509. Standing here, one can understand the enduring attraction of this location. The air feels cooler, the city appears more distant, and the Bosphorus stretches below as both a geographical boundary and a route connecting continents. Istanbul is usually experienced through movement, ferries, traffic, crowds between Europe and Asia, but from this hill, the city seems momentarily still. The landscape also gives the shrine a sense of separation from ordinary urban life. Visitors have climbed away from neighborhoods below and entered a space where geography, legend, and faith meet and intersect.
Ses mi gelme diyorsun? Çünkü oradan mikrofon.